Hello everyone. Welcome back to Resident Evil 2. Excited to get back into it. So I was thinking again about how to proceed. I probably should pick up the items. I think it's probably most responsible for me to do so. The ones that are left over. I was thinking initially that I wouldn't, but then I don't know. Further thought has sort of compelled me. My biggest concern, of course, would be needing these things and not having them. So we will try to be pretty efficient. Hi, guys. Which I think I can be. I think we already are, in fact. That's pretty good. There's something in the safe in the East office, which I don't think we have that code yet. That combination, rather. Let's double check documents. Internal memo. Stars West office, not East office. Yeah, I don't think that we have what we need there. That's okay. So now I think put you away real quick. It's a little bit dangerous. Well, do I want to go down this hall or can I go? I can go the other way. I'll go through the West office. It feels kind of nice. I mean, like, I guess I may be already a little familiar with this map from, you know, having watched it in the past. But it is amazing to what degree I already feel kind of comfortable, like, navigating alternative pathways and things. I think it's a testament to the fact that most of these spaces have specific purposes. Okay. That's everything. Now this floor. Extra knife would be good. Extra healing item. Upstairs, extra gunpowder. Extra ammo I definitely want. Okay. Okay. No, can't go that way. Let's use one shotgun shell on. Hello. Perfect. It's on this floor, right? Yeah, okay. So, ammo is behind me? What am I? Oh, wow. Weird. Okay. That's good, though. Hallway is good. And now, dangerous liquor hall. So, this is a real risk. Hi. Okay. Can he stack? No. Okay. Now my inventory's full again. Which isn't great. And a red herb. Damn. Can I just combine you outright? I can. Okay, that's good. Star's office. Okay. We still need to get the gun. Have we tested the linen room yet? I don't think we have. I'm really happy that there aren't, like... Okay, that's a diamond door, so no, not worth attempting that yet. Okay. Library now. Time to drop some stuff off. Then we can pick up that extra knife. I would really like that. Then we will probably get going. We can leave the police station for now, which is not going to be permanent, but I don't know. I do quite like this environment, so slightly sad to see it go already. Store that, store that, store that, store that. Thank you. And I might save just to be safe. Let's grab that extra knife. That's on the second floor of the library, I believe I saw. Nope, you're not the library. It's nice that every door is double open. It's not really much of a thing you see in real life, but for video games it's certainly a lot more convenient. Was it? No, it is on this floor. Right. Police officer has it. Cool. Alright, I'm going to drop off the knife real quick. Slightly inefficient routing there, sorry. But after that we can head up. We are going to head back up to the storage room, use the bomb, and then get the last of our medallions to skedaddle. And this might be a shorter video. I'm not exactly sure how long this is going to take, but I kind of know where things are going. And I think I know what the next point I want to stop is. We're going to get... When we get the third medal and we get to leave here, we're going to head into like a subterranean area. And in the subterranean area, we are going to have a boss fight. And I'm not super excited about that. I'm a little concerned about how well I will perform in that. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Oh, was there... No, that's not an herb. Okay. I believe there's maybe now a liquor in this room. Not 100% certain. Maybe there will be one after I detonate gigantic blocks of C4. I think that's like a... Not 100% certain, but I think that's like a building destroying amount of C4. Well, he doesn't sound happy. Real quick, let's see. We need Lady Bow Snake. Maybe that's Virgo Sagittarius. Sagittarius? Maybe. Then here we have Eru. Symbol of Ireland. Lady. Bow. That's bow, that's fish. There we go. Slightly hard to see with all that grime. Okay. There goes that knife. Ow. And out the door I go. Not perfectly clean, but not too bad. I wish I hadn't taken the damage, but so far we've been pretty good about that. That's kind of a tight section. But I have plenty of healing items, so I think we'll be okay. And I got the extra knife. I probably should have just used a flash grenade in there. That would have helped quite a bit, but I don't know. I think that the lickers are affected by flash grenades, even though they're blind, but I'm not 100% certain, so I'd rather not risk it. We might use red-green herb mix rather than my first aid spray. And real quick, just because I don't want to have to deal with that room again. Okay. Oh, I should also get out the knife. Thank you. Okay. Here's Ireland. Well, maybe Ireland. I don't really know. As I said, I think that this is all, like, intentional. I was thinking about more of the symbolism, and I do wonder if this is supposed to be kind of like a down the rabbit hole thing. Maybe, maybe not. Like, the idea of, like, descending into the subterranean spaces shows up in tons of Resident Evil games.
So it goes underground.
Yep.
Huh. That's it. That's our way out. Lieutenant Branna! Marvin! It's time to go. Hey, Marvin. We need to get you to a hospital right now.
No, save yourself.
Come on, I've got you.
No!
Look, we can still make it out of here together. You just can...
It's too late. I tried, Leon. But I couldn't stop it. We can't let this thing spread. It's on you now. Just go.
I understand. I won't let you down, Marvin.
Sorry, Marvin. I do like Marvin's character quite a bit. I wish we had a little bit more time with him. That's actually kind of an issue that I have with the Resident Evil series at large. Like, I kind of feel like for all of the love that these characters have among Resident Evil fans, the games very often don't actually give you a lot of time to spend with them. Okay, so that's another thing we can get a handle turn for. We have a statue also of Lion and Unicorn again. So once again, Alice in Wonderland, reiterating on this lion and unicorn motif. Oh, thank you. That's a model of the police station itself, the RPD. Something that's always kind of bothered me. I know that, like, it'll never be addressed in canon at all, but I've never liked that. I've never liked that it's the RPD, not the RCPD, because the place we are at is Raccoon City. I imagine that's maybe like a peculiarity of Japanese that they just decided to. No, that's not what I wanted to do. That they did the RPD rather than RCPD, but I don't know. There's something about the double letter that sounds really nice. South Animal India, says that book at the bottom of the shelf. That is weird painting the little girl. Cool. I don't see any additions of like Alice in Wonderland or something, which would be the most obvious obvious possible reference. So part of my interest in how and where and why this may or may not have that motif is it's a really nice Weekender bag, by the way, but I guess it's a leather duffel. But the Paul W.S. Anderson film, the first Resident Evil from like 2002, also has an Alice in Wonderland theme, which I always thought was kind of like, it's kind of bizarre and non-committal. And I thought that that was always kind of like a funny thing in the film. And when I noticed that, when I was like rewatching some of those films, it sort of caught me that it was happening in this game also. That there was a lot of stuff that I felt was sort of adjacent. Oh, cool. Nice little pallet jack over there. That's called a pallet jack, that yellow thing. This we need a key to open, and there's a gun mod in it. I think this is locked. Yeah. So we'll need to come back here. Yeah, I decided in like, I remembered the weird Alice in Wonderland theme from years and years ago, actually, but I rewatched all of the Resident Evil films this year, leading up to Resident Evil 8. Not that the films necessarily have anything to do with the games. In fact, they very much don't. But I thought it was kind of funny and interesting, just because that first film was at one point, as I understand it, intended to be like a transmedia sequel kind of thing. Not sequel, I guess prequel. Like before Resident Evil 0 happened, it was meant to be possibly like there was some discussion at some point that like that film would exist in conjunction with the games and be like a canonical explanation for the outbreak. Here's our boss arena, by the way, if you can't tell. But that's a boss arena. So we're going to have a jump scare. I think he jumps out and scares me when I try to move this case. But I always thought that that was kind of neat. That it like as disconnected hello. Ow. Jerk.
Jesus.
Okay.
Words won't work on this thing.
Where'd you go, Will? Oh. First missed shot. Probably several. And here comes a weak point.
No choice. Gotta take it down.
Oh, wrong way. Ow. Well, there goes that knife. Unfortunately, I think I lose that. Oh, wrong way again. It's a bummer that I lose the knife. Maybe get a little brave. Now, this is going to be, okay, we got him into phase 2 at least. That's a good start. Bring around the Rosie. Come on. Show me your eye. Here we go. Oh. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I'm sorry I missed, or I lost the knife, because that wasn't really nearly as draining on my resources as I thought it was going to be. Okay. Bye-bye. That's another enemy who I think has maybe sort of RNG health, and I've always wondered, based on the other playthroughs that I've watched, if, like, he's specifically designed to exhaust your ammo. He was not as bad as I thought. In the grand scheme of things, I did not lose. I used a lot of resources, but like I don't feel wiped out. So another grenade is good. Healing is good. I don't think I took a single hit in that fight. I mean, I got grabbed the one time, but I don't think you take damage if you do a counter. So yeah, that first film, Resident Evil from 2002, Paul W.S. Anderson. Not to be confused with Paul Thomas Anderson, who did There Will Be Blood. And also not to be confused with Wes Anderson of indie film phenomenon fame. Is there anything else? There's got to be more in here. There's one. Thank you. More. Thank you. I made more ammo with the gunpowder for the sake of it, knowing that in this fight I would need it. Now we're cleared. So like the fact that that film was meant to be canon is kind of interesting to me, and they ended up actually using some of the ideas, like things introduced in that film were in fact later introduced into canon. So like the Red Queen, who is the sort of hostile AI in that film. Okay. What else is in here? It's this. Yeah, that's where I fell through. Nothing else in here. Nope. Ended up getting reintroduced in Umbrella Chronicles in the original scenario from Umbrella Chronicles, which is the BSA raiding Umbrella Lab in Russia. They reintroduced the Red Queen, who shows up in that film. And it's weird. So as I said, the film has this weird half-committal Alice in Wonderland motif that, like, I don't know if that was something that Capcom wanted, because they did bring back Red Queen. Red Queen, of course, is like one of the villains in Alice in Wonderland. Or Queen of Hearts, I guess, technically, but still. Oh, thank you. My favorite thing. Yep, put away you, put away you, put away you. I think we're all good. But there's other things, like the fact that the main character in those live-action Resident Evil films is called Alice is probably like the most obvious heavy-handed one. One of the most obvious heavy-handed ones. The mansion that they initially access the underground lab through is called, I think, Looking Glass Estates or something like that, and they literally access the underground tunnel that's behind a mirror. So like through the looking glass, the test subjects that they show Umbrella using are literally white rabbits. There's a handful of other things as well that I'm drawing a blank on slightly in the moment, but it's a weird thing. It's a weird that they insisted upon that motif, and I think it's kind of funny that they brought it back here. Oh dang! Did I get barfed on or something? Leon's outfit's all gross and dirty now. We're gonna go into the sewers later, so I'm just gonna get caked in filth. But I don't know where that's from. I guess maybe the big F, William falling on top of me might have done it. I guess I've been tackled by zombies or grabbed by zombies a couple of times, and they're famously dirty. But okay, this was sort of a short one, I know, but like I don't have exact mental markers of how all of these videos are going to go, but this one kind of made sense to me. Finishing up the RPD was a little faster than I thought it would be, and the boss fight was way faster than I thought it would be. So I was hoping this would be maybe even more like a 40-minute episode rather than a 25-minute episode or whatever we're at. But I am kind of trying to build these in like clear chunks. So like start of the game was one thing, then we did like one wing of the building, then we did another like passage where we keep sort of like looping back to save points. We are going to emerge into the parking garage next episode, and I think it makes more sense to stop now, and like that can kind of be its own whole thing. So apologies for this being a shorter one and there not being as much for me to say, but I don't know. I guess if we could throw one in here if we want. Let's do a little bit more trivia. So peeking back to our industrial area, two things kind of strike me just because Dawn of the Dead is my favorite movie. Not just my favorite zombie movie, but probably my favorite movie of all time. This whole section reminded me of one particular thing, which is where Flyboy, aka Steven, Steven kind of gets lost in this industrial area in the back of the mall, kind of like a boiler room, and it always kind of reminded me of that. Like that scene is like weirdly tense because there's this idea that the lack of lighting and the weird lighting and the weird shadows of that room makes it really, really hard for Steven to figure out where a zombie is. And there's all this like echoing metal and like bullet ricochets when he's like firing off shots. That sort of confuses and disorients him, which I feel like I kept a pretty good eye on the boss, but when I've seen other people play this section, very frequently there is this issue where people lose sight of him and you kind of end up like panicked trying to figure out what direction he's coming from. And I believe he can go up above, like on some of these little catwalk areas, like not up here, but like below that you can see a little bit more of that grading. I think he can go up onto those and then drop down on top of you. So he can technically travel paths you can't, which makes him sort of unpredictable. We had a really good loop with him, I think. But the other thing that kind of struck me was there is something about Leon as this like blonde cop and Marvin as this black cop that did kind of remind me a little bit of the Roger and Peter relationship from Dawn of the Dead, which I always think is really kind of fascinating, and I think it's a really great duo. And anyone who hasn't seen the original Dawn of the Dead from 1978, I highly recommend it. It's really weird. If you look at it, if you don't know what you're getting into, just be aware that it's not that much of a horror film. It's not that scary for the most part. It's kind of a romp. Like it's fun. It's an adventure in a lot of regards. It's kind of a heist movie in some ways structurally. It's also deliberately really silly and kitschy and like goofy at times. Like the effects are cheesy and the zombies are funny and weird. And that's on purpose. And I think it's it's such a legendary film. Sometimes people go into it expecting it to be like they're going into The Exorcist or something, or Alien, like these very, very serious, austere classic horror films. Dawn of the Dead isn't that. Dawn of the Dead is it's a very serious film, and it's actually kind of a sad film in many regards, but it is also silly and funny and purposefully campy in a lot of ways. So I highly recommend it, but just know going in, like, you're not going to get this like atmospheric, dour, like horror masterpiece or something. It's a lot more it is having fun with itself, and like the fundamental premise of like these adults let loose in a shopping mall is fun, and I think that is meant to be part of the film. You're supposed to be similarly seduced by the kind of like what if that the characters themselves are. And fitting with that, the zombies are really silly. Like famously, there's this nun zombie that George Romero insisted like they couldn't kill on screen, because he felt like she was too cute. Like, oh, we can't kill this like adorable nun zombie, like as in like a Catholic nun. And there's this baseball player zombie. There's this one zombie who's like obsessed with guns. Like he cares more about stealing guns from people than he does about actually eating them. There's a Hare Krishna zombie. There's this one who looks kind of like Ed Bundy who shows up. There's this one who looks kind of like Will Ferrell who keeps showing up. Not that Ed Bundy, I don't know if he would have been a thing already by 1978. I don't know that show very well. But Will Ferrell certainly wasn't a celebrity at the time. But like this is a film where they literally like throw pies at zombies at one point. So be aware going into it that it's like a weird. It's not I wouldn't call it a horror comedy, but it is very funny and very weird. So anyway, sorry if that's a little bit of padding, but I don't know. Seeing the industrial area certainly made me think about it, and blonde cop and black cop maybe being a little bit more older, a little bit older and a little bit more experienced, I should say, not more older, but older and more experienced black cop, and this like young blonde rookie it is kind of like the Peter Roger dynamic, though. Like I don't want to give spoilers, but like certainly different fates for the characters, I would say. And they're definitely not the same people, but there is a part of me that wonders if there was some influence here of I don't know. Romero has always been what was always really purposeful, I should say, about including black characters in his films, especially after the first one. Night of the Living Dead famously has a black protagonist, and it's a film set. It was shot in the late 1960s. Like it was shot during the civil rights era, and it has a black male protagonist and an otherwise all white cast. People sometimes overstate that Romero wasn't aware or wasn't thinking about the racial dynamics. People kind of take this one particular quote out of context, which is that the character wasn't written to be black. That is true, but when Dwayne Jones, I believe Dwayne Jones is the name of that actor, when he was cast because he was the best actor that they all knew. Yeah, Dwayne Jones is his name. He was the best actor that they knew. So they were kind of attempting to be colorblind, which especially in the 1960s was, we think of colorblind casting today as being kind of ignorant, but in the 1960s it was actually incredibly progressive. But yeah, Romero and Jones would both later go on to talk about how, like, when they were hanging out during the production and talking about the film, like, race and the racial politics of what it meant to have this black protagonist did come up. Like, it was something that they talked about. It was something that they thought about while they were making the film. And people sometimes dismiss that based on Romero saying that they didn't write the character as black. But in his subsequent zombie films, he always has like a major black character in different capacities. So in Dawn of the Dead, it's Peter, who is a cop, and he's kind of like, I guess he's like SWAT team technically, but he's I think kind of a fascinating and kind of inscrutable character, because he's the one who initially suggests that they stay in the mall. He's clearly a conflicted figure, and I think is really I think he's really fascinating. I would recommend, I said, and anyone who's into it. That character is played by Ken Foree, and he's I think he's a really interesting character. He's complicated because it's really kind of hard to tell what his motivations are. And the other in Day of the Dead, there is John, I believe is his name. He's played by Terry Alexander. They also call his character Flyboy at points, which is almost like a callback to Dawn of the Dead. But yeah, he's the one who suggests that they just get out of there. He's the one who's kind of like, what are we staying here for? Like, what are we attempting to do? And I think that's kind of an interesting and different role than either Peter or Ben in Night of the Living Dead. Land of the Dead, the fourth one, also had a major black character, but he's actually not living. He's this zombie, like the lead zombie in that film is played by a black actor. I don't know if that character has a name, actually. I'm gonna look it up real quick if we're just hanging out. Obviously, like, feel free to close the episode if this is boring to you, but I can just hang out. I said this is like a little bit podcasty, as I sometimes talk about. Land of the Dead has Eugene Clark as a character ambiguously named Big Daddy Zombie. He's kind of an interesting character. Anyone who hasn't seen Land of the Dead takes place like 20 years after the zombie outbreak. It has a lot of problems. It's not as good as the original trilogy, but I also think it is good in certain ways. I think there's a lot of positives to it, despite its many problems. One of the interesting things, though, I think in terms of like Romero world building, is the implication that zombies are kind of evolving. Not physically, like they aren't becoming like better predators or something, but it's almost like they almost mark like a new phase for humanity or something, and they are learning a little bit over time. And Big Daddy Zombie, the ostensibly the protagonist of the zombie side of the story, is kind of a leader and is shown processing information and learning and thinking, and is implied to maybe like he's almost like a messianic figure in a way, who is sort of leading the zombies. Like they literally cross a river together, so I guess he's sort of a Moses figure. Like he doesn't part the sea, but he leads them across to reclaim not reclaim, I guess, but just take over this human city that has been assailing them at points. The last 2 zombie films Romero directed, I don't recall there being a major black character, but I'd have to look back into that, which is kind of weird because I feel like later in life Romero was more willing to kind of open up about his politics and like more willing to embrace his own legacy or something. So I would think that he'd be playing with that. And I think like Diary of the Dead, which was his 5th one, and loosely a reboot and also a found footage film. That one has like very clear, purposeful social commentary. Like it's not a super smart film. I think it's better than a lot of people say it is. Like I said of Land of the Dead, I think Land of the Dead a lot of people would say is kind of like a C grade film, or like, you know, kind of like middling. It's an okay film. I think it's better than okay. I think it's good. Like a B grade film, even if it's not an A grade film. Diary people tend to say is just bad. I don't know if I would call it bad. I would say it's on like the worst end. It is on a worse end of okay. I think it is still an okay film. I don't think it's a bad film. I think, as I said, I think it's kind of an interesting one. I don't recall there being a major black character in it, but I would have to double check. I haven't seen that one in a few years. Survival of the Dead I've only seen once, so I hate saying it, but I can't really recall. Survival was a direct spin-off to Diary. I should actually rewatch that one. I own the DVD, but I only ever watched it once. Because I didn't, as I recall, I didn't like it at the time very much, but it's worth revisiting, especially as I go through all these. Like if I'm willing to sit through, I sat through all 6 Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil films, which are for the most part really quite bad films, and I've certainly watched much worse zombie films than Survival of the Dead. And I've watched much worse zombie films than the Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil films. That's 6. That set of 6. Which I also think are maybe... They're very bad films for the most part, but I think they're at least kind of fun. They're fun bad for the most part, not boring bad, which is much worse. So... sorry if this is filler, everybody, but I guess I want to give you at least a little bit more bang for the buck. And there's certain topics that aren't always easy to weave into episodes. So, I don't know. As I've talked about in the past, I kind of want this, or I kind of want my style of Let's Playing to be a little bit more podcasty at times. So when I have opportunities to speak, or when something strikes me, we might do this kind of thing, especially at the end of an episode or at the beginning of an episode. It's a little bit easier to sort of calm down, hang out. This isn't the most inspiring environment for us to be doing that in. In fact, it's probably the ugliest space we've been in the game so far. Even like the gas station was fascinating, as you saw me marveling at all the object making in there, but we won't have to spend much time here. So thanks so much everybody for watching. We'll see you next episode, and we'll continue into the parking garage, and we are going to be the game is really going to start opening up and ramping up in a lot of ways. We're going to be seeing a lot more of the lickers. We're going to be seeing some zombie dogs, and the infamous Mr. X is going to be showing up relatively soon. So thanks again for watching. Well, take care, drink some water, maybe stretch if you haven't stretched today. Feels good. Roll those shoulders back. Take care of yourself, everybody. Bye-bye.